Stone and Sky. Andor has had its season 1 finale. And it's what it needed to be. It has, some intense stuff. It has some action. A little bit low key, I think, compared to how a lot of finales are, which is fitting for this, but at the same time, cathartic, especially for the reason that fighting breaks out, which is exactly on point for what this show has been and part of why I love it, which is the focus is on and remains on and has never taken its eye off of what fascism does to people, how not actually strong it is, how it exposes its own weaknesses, how it pits people against each other and keeps people down, and the importance of fighting it. I was not expecting to choke up over a hologram speech from Andor's late mother, but I did. Because, as with almost everything in this, it shows such an astute understanding of fascism. And in this case, particularly, part of how it gets a foothold. Because her speech puts the emphasis on how they have been here. They have been entrenching themselves. And we comforted each other and ourselves by saying, well, we still have our community. We still have each other. There's still things that make life good, even as this happens. And that's not a bad thing. I don't want to glorify the idea of people with literally nothing left to lose. Letting things ever get to that state is an atrocious thing. But rather, it's important to remember that whatever it is you currently have, that you are taking comfort in as fascism entrenches itself, you are not going to be allowed to keep it. They will take it from you. But while you are taking comfort in it and thinking things can't be all bad because I still have this, maybe you aren't paying as much attention as they entrench themselves deeper, as they put in more restrictions, as they take over more. Then by the time you notice, possibly around the time that they try and take away that thing you're still taking comfort in, it's now a lot harder to fight. There's a fine line between something that we love and cherish that gives us a reason to fight, and something we love and cherish that we cling on to as a form of emotional escapism that keeps us from dealing with what's going on. I like it as presented because it's not a flat-out condemnation. It's not saying, how dare you care about those around you, look what happened. No, it's saying, yes, these things matter. It mattered to me too. But don't let that give you a reason to stop paying attention. Don't take so much comfort in these things that you don't look outside at what's going on. And her calls to fight and seeing the people who were mourning her loss, and to see somebody take a brick made partially out of her remains and belt an officer in the head with it. Yes. Yes to all that. I like that the reasons everyone's were there were all made sense. I like that Andor flat out confronted, I still can't remember the character's name, but Stellan Skarsgård's character, and said, you came here to kill me, didn't you? Well, you can either kill me or you can let me help, because I'm here now and I'm in. And even the freaking weasel turd saving that Imperial investigator, or whatever her official rank is. Well, first of all, watching her think she has control over this. And first of all, she doesn't have nearly as good a control over the people under her command as she thinks she does, which is very much the nature of fascism. They are never in as much control as they think they are. So there's that. And then to see it all fall apart around her And to see her pulled out by this little crud, this little jackass. And he's now going to get elevated because he's shown the one thing that fascism needs, but also doesn't respect, and that is loyalty. He's showing that. And he'll be rewarded for it for now, probably going into the next season. But fascism will discard him. It did it already once before. It'll do it again. But it'll make use of him for as long as it can until then. He just served himself up to be used once more. And he did it excitedly. Which is sad. And it should be. The humanity granted to the droid is also really wonderful. I would say there is more humanity granted to the droid in this series, and the droid isn't even a big focus, that I think has really happened in Star Wars prior to this. That's not to say that, droids weren't humanized. They were. They were very, anthropomorphized, characterized. But, really putting an emphasis on, no, this thing has feelings. This thing cares. This thing is hurt by what's going on, and most people don't regard it as anything more than an appliance. That's well done. I like that the droid got to project that message. That just felt so right. I love seeing the guy who rings the bell kick a stormtrooper off a tower. Individual moments, individual images. The strength of this. But again, also emphasizing, this is not we fight now and then we win. This has to be the start of more. Because fascism did get entrenched. It has got its claws into the system, and digging those out, it's going to take a lot. But whatever it takes, it starts somewhere. And it starts with people who say no. And who fight. And they do what it takes. And this shows that amazingly. This show, I'm going to do a more complete overview of it for the main channel. But this show, it was everything I wanted it to be. And then it delivered stuff that I didn't even think to ask. And it managed to give me things that work in this context that I don't think would have worked in other Star Wars contexts, specifically in terms of really showing the dirty side of the rebellion, the dirty side of the good guys, which is something that, say, for instance, The Last Jedi tried to do, and I don't think it was successful there, but it's not because the idea was bad. It was because the context didn't work. Here, this gives the context for those things. And, Mon Mothma, knowing she's being listened to, and without her husband knowing, getting into a fake argument and accusing him of gambling away their money so that there is a logical explanation for why money has been moved around in weird ways. She's throwing him under the bus in a way, and he doesn't even know it. She's sacrificing any trust in their relationship, which there was very little at that point anyway. But it's now completely gone. Because she'll spin a lie that will hurt him personally, professionally, in their relationship, but help her in the cause. These are the price that sometimes have to be paid. And this show has never forgotten the prices that get paid, but it's also continually shown why they are worth paying. Because one of the really difficult things to avoid is getting into a situation where you show all the struggle involved in fighting against something, but you fail to show why it's worth fighting against. What are you fighting for? And this kept giving us both. Shows how hard the fight is. It shows us people who literally have nothing to lose, people like in the prison, but it also reminds you of what there still is that people haven't lost yet that is worth fighting for. You have to establish the people, the world, something as worth saving. Otherwise, everything that people sacrifice to try and save it feels futile. Not here. This is going to be a hard fight. but it shows that it's worth fighting it. Andor, episode 12. What did you think about this? Whatever your thoughts are, drop something down in the comments. Let's talk about it. Patreon's what pays the bills. Any amount you can help is of immense assistance, even if you can't. Like, share, subscribe. Also help me out. But what I really, really want you to do is just try and relax as best you can with everything going on, because here I do try and take a relaxed attitude, so you can just come on back the next time you need a break. End credits, that means I need to shout out my top Patreon supporters. Robin Moore, Zupin Lutfula, Tarak, the thing that goes doink in the anime, Oliver B., Linda Walters, Emu Delkey, Leotha Boyd, Toy Loli, Becky Sparks, Renabi Likes the Poodle, Zach, Tracy Scrabbit, Angry Casperl, Adam RDL Taylor, Shay Lagourlay, Brendan LaRose, and TT. Thank you so much for your support. You can get your name in the credits too by checking out the rewards on the Patreon. You only tried to eat my earring once this time. That's much better.